Showtime, we are live. Hello to everyone. Delighted to see that Karen Richardson is going to do the sharing options into the groups, so we can get going straight away. So,
Nice.
hi everyone. I'm always so honoured to host these live sessions, and today I'm rejoined by the creator of AMPED. AMPED is the most advanced brain entrainment technology on the planet. All you do is press play and Barefoot expertly takes your subconscious on a transformational journey. This journey is a healing one and will allow you to fulfill your mission and manifest your dreams. My star guest is a best-selling author and has no less than 21 published books, soon to be 22, I hasten to add. As a master healer, he's positively impacted the lives of in excess of 1 million people. How amazing is that? Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the one and only Barefoot Doctor, Stephen Russell. Thank you so much for joining us. Yay.
Thank you. Yay. Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody.
Brilliant. I'm just going to go to the comments a moment. Currency is sharing away. Bless you, Karen. Thank you so much. Just saying hello, fellas.
Hey, thank you, Karen. Bless you.
Yeah,
Bless you.
Thank you so much. That's right. Right, so I'll just get that one down. So, I know last time, Stephen, I started off by asking you a question, and you sort of recognised that you didn't do it. You didn't want to answer it as fully as you would have liked to have done. So we're going to reprise partially that question. And the question I asked you last time was, why is it so important to heal yourself? You know, why is that such a crucial thing to do in a lifetime, in an incarnation? And I know you certainly talked about it and shared some interesting stories, but I wonder if you could pick up on that, please.
I will, sir, and thank you for remembering. I appreciate it, because only this morning when I was up on my roof doing my Tai Chi early, I have to add, because I'm at the end of a. So I'm getting a slap back in my ears, so it's a bit off-putting here. Yeah, I'm there. I'm here. I'm back. I'm kind of celebrating because I just finished what I don't know how many months it is, but it's been full on doing the finishing volume 2 of AMPED, and getting one of those things finished is like, seriously, that is a mission. And it, I've got about 12 big A4 notebooks full of notes from the project, because you have to just keep it organized, otherwise it will run out of control so quickly. Not even the filing, and you have no idea how long it takes to do at the end, like nearly 2 days solid to get all the files in order. There's so much of it, it's insane, really. Anyway, that, and then I wrote the book to go with it, which is 40,000 words, proper book, and because I want to explain what the whole thing's all about, and I've done the bonus, what do you call it, like the complimentary tracks as the sample, so people can know what it's all about. And it's not just any old thing; it's really good. I'm really happy with it. So anyway, I've kind of, and also that I'm doing 2 other really big music projects with other people that are quite different sort of thing. And I finished everything on my list, everything, including, it got down to pharmacy, get the right plaster shape for you, the plasters that you need to take with you, because I'm going traveling now. Clean, like water the plants, even that's on the list, because if I don't put it on the list, I won't remember that. And I've done everything, every single thing. I've got 3 more chores to do, and I'm done. I'm out, right? So like there's a celebration. It's a rare moment. You don't get these very often. And I would like to talk in a bit about the power of this thing. And I'm not just going self-serve. It's not that. I was just excited by it. That working on it, the effects it has on me is fascinating, because, I'm obliged to be listening to it over and over and over and over. And I've got to be distanced from my own personality in the voice. So I'm not thinking of me when I'm listening to that voice. Like when I produce anybody's voice, it's a voice. That's all. That's what it is. So the message goes in, even if it's me that's written it. Anyway. I'll get to that in a minute, but the healing, I thought of this in depth this morning, and this is how I'm seeing it, because firstly, we're looking at healing in respect of manifesting things, I think. But look, first of all, the benefit of healing is if you've got, like, really simply, if you've got pain and you can get that pain to dissolve, that's got to be preferable than having the pain, I think. It's simple as that. Secondly, and this is the big picture, if you could imagine casting your mind back to when you were in the 2nd trimester in the womb, in your mum's womb, when you were big enough, formed enough to sort of feel yourself, you could swim, and there's enough room in the womb still to be able to swim about, and then you bang up against the side, and that's how you get to know that you are an entity. So that's where your first inklings of identity are formed, is in the womb in the second trimester. After that, in the third trimester, of course, it starts to get a bit claustrophobic, and although it's addictive, because that's where it's the only place eventually so you've got to get out of there or you're going to be crushed. So it's the first trimester, you're not even really kind of formed properly yet, but the second trimester, that's almost heaven, I guess. I mean, that would be perfection. And unconsciously, therefore, because we haven't been cut off from that being that was in the womb, we still are that at the core of us. We yearn for that constantly, because it was never got any better than that. It doesn't matter what, when you're outside in the air, breathing cold, hot, dirty, clean, difficult, easy, lots of action, not enough action, you don't understand too well, all of the stuff that we go through in the world of people. You get moments of absolute bliss, and I have to say that this Taoist practice does give you a sense of pretty much perpetual delight, even in the midst of fear, pain, and whatever. But nonetheless, it's because it's like it's reconnecting with that part of us that was in that second trimester of the womb, and then presumably way before that, when we weren't even in physical form at all. And that is what I call heaven. And we're all unconsciously yearning to get back there in one way or another. So we drink, we take drugs, we spend money, we go on holidays, we buy nice clothes, we do whatever it is, or fall in love, all the stuff that we do to kind of make life interesting and wonderful and horrible and all the rest of it. And we lose contact with that whole healed self. Because remember, healing comes from German word heilen, to be whole, make whole. And the idea, I don't know if you know the Course in Miracles kind of premise, it really came from, it's the same as Christian Science, Mary Baker Eddy, which she got from kind of interpreting the ethos of Jesus in his healing thing, which was that any form of disease, discomfort, illness is actually an illusion, because the real self is perfect and cannot have disease. The real self is universal and perfect. It's the perfected one. And it's just that we lose contact with that real self. And as we come back into ourselves and reclaim it, we are healed. That's when the miracle healings take place. It's moments of backing back into the real, amazing, perfect self you really are. Now, also, you've got to remember that healing yourself doesn't imply you're never going to die. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people going through the dying process, and obviously I'd rather no one had to die, of course, but it doesn't work like that. So if even in the process of dying, there is healing. If when someone is whole and with themselves fully in that place through the dying process, it stops being a tragedy, catastrophe, and becomes the most important process of your whole life, because that's what it is. It's what we're preparing for the whole time, really. This crossing over into we don't know what, but we can assume it's something quite beautiful, because no one's ever come back to complain yet. Anyway, so that's what I say healing is important for. And also because it's not comfortable being all split up in the psyche, like disparate parts of us, because we're kind of using what Freud called ego defenses to shield from ourselves the fact that I really want to do that. No, you don't. No, you don't. Oh no, I'm okay. I didn't need to do that thing. Well, actually, yeah, you just ducked out and lost your courage. And it'd be better if you said, actually, I was a bit cowardly there. It would have been good if I had done it, but I didn't. Next time, these little lies that we tell us as we create compartments of the psyche. And eventually that gets very painful. And even antidepressants doesn't really take the edge off it, because it's not about that. It's something deeper. So everyone's yearning for that to stop all that. But the only way you can stop it is and try and move it around, because then you're still in it. It's to come back behind and it all, and then all in it be different. And that's like a process of entrainment, which is what AMPED's all about. You have to spend time doing that, years usually, to entrain your mind to choose a different option at the unconscious level, and in relation to manifesting, why healing is important, and I think specifically as it occurs in AMPED, there's the one that always sticks in my mind is wounding the inner child. Sorry, that is, I don't know, that must be a Freudian slip, really. Wound that in a child. No, it's healing the wounded in a child.
I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
Yeah, but they might not have done. We can't assume. Yeah, this is really important because when you're wanting to manifest a change in conditions, it has to be, the first thing has to be that you are in a fully unified state. I mean, AMPED Volume 2 is about giving you advanced magic powers, i.e. being a magician. So it's not just about using affirmations to manifest. It's still like a slightly broader perspective on it and a bit deeper. And a magician, the first thing a real occultist must do to create some kind of change is become a unified force. Because if you're split and in conflict with yourself, you don't have the power. And you need power for this. So I don't mean you need to go like that, but you need to be in touch with the universal power. So the blocks to doing that, and i.e. therefore the blocks to manifesting what you want, because you know we hear this all the time. I feel blocked. I've been doing this. I've got a little bit of a result, but I'm blocking it, and I don't know why. What am I doing to, you know? This all comes from the wounded inner child. That when, for example, it's your birthday party and you're 5 years old and you're running about on top of the world, all exuberant, and you're not aware of yourself at all, and then your mother or father, just because they're in a bad mood or whatever, suddenly shouts at you, you know, heaven forbid at your own birthday party, stop showing off, you know, or whatever, and it shocks you. It might not mean it might, you might go right over your head, but it might just go in and go, ugh, like that. And you're a 5-year-old kid at your birthday party. You're not going to give it too much mind because it's your birthday party. So you go, and then you carry on having your birthday party. But that bit that got traumatized gets split off and remains somewhere in the ether at that age. And therefore, if you're about to manifest something, but that little child triggers off for whatever reason, some stimulus triggers it, it will go into that mode again. It will go into that, like, yeah, if I do have my birthday party, i.e. if I do manifest what I want, somebody's going to shout at me and make it all go wrong. I'm like, oh, I don't want that again, you know, you see. So it's really important to be at one with and heal that and bring those split off parts back into the fold, as it were. So that's what I address in episode 4 of Volume 2. Well, not just that. I mean, it's a whole healing thing, but that's what I always kind of think of because it's very, you know, it's important that.
Yeah, there was so much in there that you said, Stephen. And thinking back to going through Volume 2, the inner child session, it actually made me cry, but in a beautiful way. I actually listened to that obviously for a week, and then the first 3 days I was just crying tears of joy. It was just so beautiful. And the ambient, joyful music that you put in the background really takes it to a new level of healing. Also, I want to say as well that I love these sessions, and because I'm hosting them and there's a few things I've got to keep track of, I'm not quite as present always as I'd like to be. So I always go back and watch these, you know, where I'm, you know, totally able to hear your wisdom, and I get more out of it each time, and it goes to a deeper level. I just want to revert to the audience. We've got 21 viewers with us who've been with us since we started. So thank you all for joining us. I'm just going to bring a few comments in. Paul or Sifu Boggy saying you need to be one with your mind. Jing Body, Kui and Spirit Chen. It's all about balance. Thank you, Paul. Joan Walker is saying, I've had a very interesting experience of feeling my body absorb into a solid wooden frame. I've no idea what this was. Yeah, I've done similar as well with the so-called solid wooden tables. You know, your hand just sort of merges with it and goes through it. Kira is saying hello. Joan Walker is saying hi, everyone. Tony Daglish is saying round of applause. Victoria is saying morning love. Matt McGregor is saying hello. Tasia is saying wow. Thank you all.
Nice.
Yeah, I just want to, for those who are on your mailing list, they may already be aware of this, but for those who aren't, do you have any updates for AMPED Volume 2 and its proposed launch date?
Thank you for asking, sir. I do. We are launching a competition on the 3rd of October, which is a Tuesday, is it? Maybe a Wednesday. No, Wednesday. Wednesday, the 3rd of October, in a couple of weeks or so. And it's just to kind of get the awareness going for it. It's kind of a bit of fun. Somebody gets a chance to win it, and that kind of thing. It's also a way of disseminating the free sampler track magic, because I want everyone to have that, and so it gets a bit of conversation going. But then the actual release date is the 25th of October, and all the sales information will be soon up on the site.
He's gone. I've lost the doctor. Yeah. He's back.
I'm here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The only part I'm waiting for now is the visualizers, which is what Spanky Pim is doing. He's brilliant. And this time we've really gone to town with it, because you've got 6 hours worth of visuals to do. And the idea is with this is that you've got moving filmic backdrop, alluding to the vibe of the actual piece you're in at the moment. We're taking quite a lot of care over the text that comes up. And then there's this, we've been working on hypnosis spinning wheels. I love hypnosis spinning wheels. And last time we tried with it going in both directions at once, which is good. But this time we're just going in the one way. We're making more of it. And it should be really nice. And, if you like that kind of thing, it's a bit of a different alternative just for listening. You want to let your eyes be, and it really focuses the mind. It's also got all the subliminals in the background. I don't know if it works really. I think it might do. It's visual. I have no idea, but I know it does with the sonics. But just having them embedded somehow in the thing, it kind of maybe I think the eye must take them in. It must do. But it's interesting anyway. Whether it does, if it doesn't, it doesn't matter, But so that's it. Yeah, and that's why I'm in such an excited and slightly kind of jumpy chimpanzee-like mood, because it's just. The reaction of being like an army general with myself for months on end, and not a nice army general, like a cool army general, not wearing like a stiff, like wearing combats, that kind of general in the field. The guys love him, but he's a tough general. He's not like gonna let you go slack on it, and he has been running the show for like 3-4 months now, non-stop, just making sure if you've done this, go out, do that, and then it stopped. I finished, and it's like I'm on leave, right? Bye, General, and I'm on leave now. I'm like this mad, irresponsible private on leave, basically. Yeah.
Yes, and it's funny, although it's kind of long awaited, and I know there's been some twists and turns in the road, isn't always. I think it also feels like when it is finally released on the 26th of October, it's timely. It's when it's meant to be released in inverted commas, and I think it's going to be in divine, perfect timing, which is often not when we would prefer it to be, but when the universe, the Tao, wants it to be. And I just want to say it, everyone. It's so worth the wait. I've been blessed. I'm going through it now for a second time. I don't want to sort of rub salt in, but I'm going through it for a second time. I just wonder, Stephen, if you've got any inspirational stories. I know we were messaging each other the other day, and you said you had some wonderful things happen just as a byproduct of listening to AMPED Volume 2. I don't know if there's anything you want to share that isn't too personal, something inspirational.
There's a lot. I don't know. I'd have to pick. Let me pick that up. The first one that springs to mind is not necessarily so much a story, an anecdote, but I was up on the roof one morning, and it was just before having to do this vast mission of correcting all the vocals, and believe me, they needed a lot of correcting, a lot, and all the glitches and the messes and the whatever is in every track. It was a list longer than 8 books, kind of. I'm slightly exaggerating, but not really. And I'm up on the roof, and it's that moment where that weakness sets in, and you go, I don't know if I can do this. And it was like, well, I just been working on was a track that I can do this. With my magic is amped up. I can do this. And it was in my head, and the subliminals of it as well, really thick laden. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do it. And it was just like, I thought, no, I can do this. And without any strain whatsoever, from that moment, I sailed through this, what would have otherwise been a complete whatever. I'm trying not to swear today, but a complete head fuck it would have been. And it was just so smooth. And even doing the sales copy at the end, which that's like, oh no, I really got to write that after writing the book as well. Ugh, how do I describe this thing? Even that was beautiful. I mean, it was grueling, but really pleasurably grueling, to sit there and do it and get it right. It's like, beautiful, you've done it. Yeah, have I really done it? I got the track back to the guys in Groove Armada that I'm working with on that album. It's another album of healing music. It was a massive thing to do. And I did it and it's done. I sent it back. That's cool. They like that. Well, they haven't actually said they don't yet. And another big, beautiful project I'm working on with an Irish artist. This is gorgeous. And that's like 18 tracks of really 20 tracks, actually, of really good, like hip hop style more. And I finished that whole section of that project, and it's just, wow, this was done by this thing. I can do this. I can do, and it really works. You don't even have to say it to yourself almost. It triggers. And let me think. I mean, I live in this small town in Spain, and it's a very beautiful place in the Granada province, where it's really traditional. It hasn't been tainted miraculously by what Bob Dylan called the disease of conceit. Everybody has become, since the 80s, this increasing sort of arrogance in that, oh, look, we have this, look how, I can't really explain it. You have a holiday home where you can fly on EasyJet or wherever really quite easily. And everyone gets a bit pompous, like, aren't we clever? Well, you're not really. I mean, you're taking advantage of other people being clever, providing the service, if anything. But the whole thing is just people doing stuff, and people get arrogant about it. And the bigger the cars get, the bigger the houses get, the more arrogant everybody gets about it. And it's also stupid because that stops everybody having fun. You don't have fun when you're shutting off. It's boring. But here in this town, and I have no idea why the Dow guy did what I have, but how it got me here, it's incredible that I did land up here because I love it. People don't show off here. There's no show-offs, and there's no big fancy cars. The houses are nice houses around, but none of them are flash or like look at me houses. People aren't like wearing like all looking cool in their clothes necessarily. They just don't. It doesn't matter. People connect with each other here. It's an ancient culture, like dating back to the Phoenicians here, and there's a beautiful tradition. But anyway, I had on purpose did not want to make friends. I didn't want to. I just wasn't looking to, because I'm really busy when I'm here. For me, it's just the luxury of absolutely total immersion in what I'm doing, and I have no problem with that. I love it, and in not trying to make friends with anybody, just going about my business out and about. And I'm a friendly person anyway. Over a period of, and it happened just as I finished volume 2. Suddenly, I've got, wherever I go, there's loads of people, hey man, and I've learned the sound, the right sound. Hasta luego, how the way they say it. If you can get the sound right, then they gel quicker. They'll rather look at you like some weirdo. So it's like really nice. I'm suddenly developing these and on one night, it was the night I'd actually done. My neighbor, his name is Raul, and he's a real proper Raul. He's a proper Spanish real man. No, what I mean, he's not a boy. He's a real man, and his brother-in-law is also a real man, like proper men. These guys, they could lift a truck with their own. Well, we become friends in the street, like hugging even, because they're really emotionally literate here, And the two of them banged on my door, and they come in. They got some joints and beers, and I don't drink, and it wasn't like that, but it didn't matter. We were just sitting here. We had a real guys thing, like a lot of that hand slapping every 2 seconds. Oh, those handshakes. Real man stuff. And it was really fun and beautiful. Now, I didn't try and make that happen, but it was one of the most gorgeous nights. It's actually on my birthday, and I haven't planned anything because every day's a birthday for me. But I don't know if that's a really good example, but it was unusual. It was the day I finished. It was like, look, it's never happened before. I'm being accepted as a local, really. That was what was nice, I could go on, but I think I'll leave. Back to you, sir.
Yeah, it's abundance in all areas of your life. And before I forget, that's very inspirational, by the way. And before I forget, if you want to be on Stephen's mailing list, which I recommend, which you can then have a chance of winning AMPED Volume 2, just Google Barefoot Doctor website. It'll take you to his website. You can sign up for his newsletter. You'll also get a free AMPED track from Volume 1 as a taster, and you'll get details of Volume 2. And as I say, a chance to win a whole package of Volume 2 for yourself. That was so inspirational, Stephen. I've got my own as well, just doing interviews such as this one is awesome. I was doing a one with a guy a couple of weeks ago, a DJ presenter, also a spiritual cool guy. Then I reached out to a New York, an American movie star the other day, and she was like, yeah, let's do this. Let's say, wow, this is just amazing.
Brilliant.
And if I can just move on to the questions now. In the AMP group, we've got Heidi. I'm going to read her question out, actually. She asks questions for the doc. I'm just curious what he has to say about life patterns. She's saying, I seem to be in this 3-year cycle where I get the urge to physically move either job and or home and or partner. And to be honest, I would like to be able to choose rather than finding I have to, if that makes sense. So I guess the question is, how can she break this painful cycle and find out the core of it, I guess?
Well, I mean, it's really difficult, Heidi, to give a clear answer because I don't really know the story and the situation. But what occurred to me immediately as you said that was one of the main premises for being sort of sorted, so to speak, is not being in conflict with yourself and not fighting with yourself, but therefore not questioning the choices that you've made and the ensuing consequences.
He's gone again. For anyone, just if you can still see me, just bear with me. Hopefully, he'll come back in a second. For whatever reason, Be Live TV or the internet connection isn't good. Come back, Stephen. Send out positive vibes for the doc to come back because we still are live according to my little icon. Live TV, don't you just love it? If anything can go wrong, then it will. Here we go. He's coming back in. Sending out more positive vibes. Come on, Stephen. Coming back.
Not there.
Yes, you're back. Yay. Happy day to you now.
Good.
We welcome back. We lost you at the stage where you were saying, that without knowing the full details, it's hard to pinpoint. But then you said, do you have this feeling as I was reading the question out, then you went. So that's just where we got to.
Right. Rather than assume that this 3-year pattern is an aberration and is wrong, despite the fact that it's messy, probably, and difficult and painful on the change, assume that is your way of rolling. It's just I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying this is right. None of us know what the truth is. We can just make assumptions and roll with them, see what occurs. That's how magic works. So what I'm suggesting is you make the assumption, Heidi, that your way is right for you. You start on that premise. Yeah, it might be weird, it might be disruptive, it might be really quiet, whatever, but this is how I roll. And you don't do it apologetically. Let me just try and adjust this a bit. No. Yeah, you don't do it apologetically. You do it proudly. This is how I am. And if you start from that premise, that's what gives you the somewhat of the power that you can then command the process and say, and also I would like to explore the options of doing this differently just to see what happens. But what occurs to me is that you might be thinking you need to change yourself because other people are telling you, the people that you apparently are letting down, you need to be more consistent or whatever. And maybe that's not, I don't know what your story is, but if so, that would be their process rather than yours, you see. So really, let's start on the premise that, that say like in future, I would like to do this in a way that the people around me somehow enjoy the process and don't get hurt by it somehow. I don't know how that works. You don't have to know how it works, but that can be included in your intention so that you roll as you roll and you improve it, if you like, by making sure that everyone benefits around you. And then you'll find that by allowing yourself to roll as you roll, you start rolling better anyway. That's kind of how it works. I hope that helps a bit.
Thank you, Stephen. So that one is for you, Heidi. I know you're working today and you said you'll be catching the replay tonight. So as I say, thank you, Doc. William contacted me the other day and his question was in 2 parts. The first part, and we were talking about this before we came live, Stephen, he was asking if we plan on doing these sessions as a monthly regular occurrence. And, we can share that we do these, as it is intentional that we're doing these regular. And I know the ones we've been doing lately have probably been less than a month, maybe 3 weeks. Yeah. I know it was 3 weeks since the last one. So if that helps, as long as we have the the schedules, we'll make sure our schedules meet. We'll keep on doing them because we're happy to do them. I love hosting them. The doc loves answering your questions. So yeah.
Yeah, man. You're so lovely that I would do this every day if we could.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. And the second part of his question is a different type of question, but he was saying it's reference to your juicing habits, as in juicing, fruit and veg and things. And he was wondering what the doc is juicing on a daily basis and what combinations has he found that really seem to work, both taste-wise and just for the zing.
Well, I'll tell you, there's only one, but I am a creature of habit, and this is not, bear in mind, your standard punishment juice that people feel obliged to drink because it's good for you. It's not. I have to indulge myself somewhat as well. I like lovely taste, and I get, although I'm not an ignoramus, I know about the value of proper solid green juices, but this isn't one of them. This is something that's like a compromise between absolute enjoyment, which I think is very important for the healing in itself, and what does you good. And it is this, for me, like one person, and I get all my fruit from a store down the road where it all comes in fresh from the farm and it's organic, really privileged like that. And the difference is astonishing. So you've got two big, fat, green, luscious green apples. Then you have, those, is it Constantine pears? The ones that are quite long, the pears that are quite long, the fat, discolored-y looking things. Then if they've got them, there's those little pears that are kind of look a bit like apples. They've got a bit of red in them as well. They're really exotic. Then, so you're with me, there's apples, there's pears. Then 3 fat carrots. You go fat, lovely, juicy, organic carrots. And then this is where it comes a bit variable, depending on what's in season. But spinach is a staple. So you go a big clump of spinach leaves. If you can get radishes, if I can get them, I'll have 2 radishes or 3 radishes in there because it gives it a bit of spicy, bit of peak, And then at the moment in the summer, there's been these amazing lettuces. They're really like green, ridiculous lettuces. And you just grab the heart of them out and plop that in. And that is it. And I would advise very much that you go through the ritual of cleaning all parts of the juicer and putting it back together before you stir the juice and drink it. It's a really important discipline. Otherwise, it sits there and it all dries in. That's part of my, Virgoan way of doing things. Also, I put the knife that I've used to cut the fruit with, because, I use some other bits. I only have to wash one after, being a guy. I stir it round to the left, counterclockwise, while saying, banish, banish, banish all trace of illness, disease, tiredness, weakness, lack of whatever, anything out with this juice. And then I stir it clockwise and go draw all positive, helpful energies, health, longevity, stamina, strength, vitality, enthusiasm, whatever, like that. It is done. And then I drink it. I always say cheers. I always do it, cheers. And then it's usually 3 glasses, that is 3 of those sides. And always, invariably, it's always different every day, bit. It's like, oh, what? This is beautiful. That's always like, I always get that, and that's really important. And after that, I'm charged for the day. It really gives me the energy. Yeah. Thank you for asking.
What a beautiful ritual as well to go with it. Thank you for sharing that. I'll be re-spinning this video later on and taking notes and writing it down. I'm going to try that for sure. And the next question I have is one of mine, because I think the thing that we can all do to help raise the consciousness of the planet is the way in which we treat animals. And I know, going back to the summer in one of your newsletters, you were in the States, in California, I believe, and you were pictured with 2 or 3 horses, and you'd been communicating on a soul level with these horses. And I know I've got friends on my list who can communicate with animals, but for those who perhaps aren't psychic or clairvoyant or whatever, I just wondered if you could walk us through the process or what's going on when you're connecting with a horse or any other animal for that matter, please.
Well, I was at my friend's restaurant. This wasn't a horse story, by the way. I was at a friend's restaurant a couple of nights ago, and there was a very nice looking, but kind of very middle class, quite uptight looking person with a dog. So he was sitting there, and the dog was on a lead, and it was this really beautiful bulldoggy type thing. Like, it was a girl, and it was, it's gorgeous. And immediately, this is the point, you have to be really sensitive because you get the hip problem straight away if you're going to. She immediately spotted me and she wants to come towards me and she's putting her back. So I leave it for a bit. It wasn't until at one point she couldn't hold it, but she just charged at me. She thought it was a bad thing. And I said, no, it's good. And I just came because she loved me immediately. She loved me and I loved her. We were in love with each other immediately. And the feeling is so beautiful. So I'm talking to her a little bit. And when I start talking to her and tell her, you go back with your owner there. When I talk to her, it's all going to be fine. I talked to the back part of her. So I did it with a friend of mine's dog, Bruno. He was a Sussex Terrier, a Sussex Spaniel, mad lunatic puppy that was just dropping like bones on the hard stone floor or a wooden floor continually to make a noise to drive everyone mad. He was completely hyperactive and they tried everything with him, trainers and what have, nothing worked. And he was at his wit's end. So he'd asked me to come down to sort him out. And I go, Bruno, listen, man. He's like, like that. A beautiful dog, by the way. And I go, Bruno, man, listen. We can carry on playing this game of you being a dog and me being a man. It's fine, we are. I mean, we know that game, right? But Bruno, you know and I know that really what you are is the divine presence, Bruno. Bruno, listen to me, Bruno. You're the divine presence, and so am I. So the divine presence at the back of me, Bruno, is talking to the presence in you, Bruno. And Bruno, do you know what I'm seeing? Bruno, I'm seeing a ninja. When I look at you, Bruno, I'm seeing a ninja. Bruno, listen to me. I'm seeing a ninja. Now, you know what a ninja is, Bruno? A ninja, and then my voice changed. If he's suddenly listening, is stealthy, silent, and strong. Bruno, ninja, stealthy, silent, strong. And he's like, when they stop and they go, funny. I said, now listen to me, Bruno. This is the agreement we're going to make because you are a ninja. You are not a clown. Therefore, you can stop doing the clowning now. You understand me? And you can start being the ninja that you are because you have a responsibility, Bruno. You can still play, you can still have fun, but you have a responsibility to be the ninja that you really are. You hear me, Bruno? Stealthy, silent, strong Bruno ninja. You hear me? And he stopped doing that noise. He stopped being hyper, literally at that moment. And they were going, I don't believe this. I said, well, what do you mean? I spoke to him. Can you believe it? It's Bruno, man. He's cool. He knows. He'll be all right. Are you sure this isn't going to be 5 hours? It's going to be fine. Just watch. Anyway, the next morning, I go outside. It was near Hastings, high on a windy Sussex hill in the countryside. And it's windy. You couldn't hear. If I spoke to you about from 20 feet away in the wrong direction, you wouldn't hear me. Wow. Bruno was about 50 to 60 feet away in the wrong direction. Didn't see me. He was looking out the other way. And I start to do the Tai Chi. Just before I do, I whisper, Bruno. But I'm literally whispering, Bruno, ninja, Bruno. Stealthy, silent, strong, Bruno, ninja. And he turns around like he heard it straight away and comes running towards me, but not hyperactive. He stops right before me as if to say, I got it. And they have this beautiful, like a hug. What about that? And he's carried on being all right. Is that a good story?
Oh, it's a brilliant story. It's excellent. And it also highlights that animals have a soul.
Yeah.
Animals have feelings and emotions and intelligence. And they're on their own evolution and soul path. And so many people don't realize or recognize or care even, but for those of us that do, what a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing it. I just want to acknowledge the comments. It looks like because this broadcast has crashed a couple of times, the comments have been sort of staged. So if you are typing stuff in, I'm not ignoring you. We aren't ignoring you. I will circle back at the end of this and answer you all individually. So just to let you know, we aren't receiving any more through at the moment, and I'm sure that you are typing more stuff in the comments. Stephen, I'd love to finish off on one of your spectacular visualizations because I know they're so popular to go down well and help people to sort of go about the rest of the day in a supercharged feeling. I have a couple of suggestions from the groups, whether you could combine these or weave them together or whatever, but I'll just read what we got. Isabel, my JV partner, was saying that I'm going to suggest an exercise on loving and accepting ourselves fully. Our society trains that out of us. Our society trains that out of us from the get-go. So I'd love to hear how the doc got there and what guidelines, practices he'd suggest. That's the first one. And William again, our friend William, he suggests for a visualization, I'll be most grateful if the doc could talk through the energy bowl exercise where one sphere rotates anti-clockwise to repel, and another clockwise draws in the good. And it was from your Urban Warrior book. What a game changer that was, he said. So I don't know if there's anything there.
Is it Isabella or Isabella? Isabel, would you mind if we could maybe dedicate the opening of the next session to answering that question fully, because it's a really good one, an important one, and it's not anything that I could really, I can include a couple of aspects of it, but I'd like to really talk about that properly, wouldn't you? I mean, it's a really good question. Could we do that?
We can reprise that for the next session. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm sure Isabella will be going, ooh, yes.
Yeah, good point. And then, yes, William, we can do that for sure. And I have an idea in mind, because it's something I want to talk about anyway. And that's what this will be based on. When you're talking about doing magic, or you're talking about manifesting things, the basis of this Taoist style magic is exactly the same as that of the Native Americans. They did all originate in Asia originally. And I lived with the Native Americans for 4 years, and I was really privileged to be inducted into this sort of secret, or certainly a level of the secret world where the magic is done. And it's exactly the same thing. What it is this, the key to everything. And it's not just, magic is not a separate activity from daily life. It's a method of living daily life more effectively, efficiently, enjoyably, and wonderfully for you and everyone around you. So it's this is fundamental to everything about you, is learning to see, firstly realizing that what you are is fundamentally a miraculous expression in human form of this mystery that the Chinese call the Tao. I'd say you can call it God, but the only issue I have with that is that we've now associated so many stories with the word God that it makes it a bit confusing for the mind is all. But it's the same thing, obviously. It's the thing we can't really give a name to that informs this entire phenomenon that we call a universe. It's imponderably absurd, in fact. So it's that, absurdly imponderable. And it's learning to see that that's what you are, and therefore that is what everyone else is as well. Now, the surface self, the bit that's telling itself stories and getting all wound up or excited or depressed or whatever it's doing, that is the constructed self. That's not the Tao. Well, it is the Tao, but it's not the pure Tao. The pure Tao sits behind in the back part and watches the whole thing, basically. So we're talking about your subconscious. We're talking about the all-powerful subconscious mind, and the understanding, like the story with Bruno, that every living thing, every person, everything that lives is also an expression of the same Tao, but also so is every object. This bottle is an expression of the Tao in bottle form, and that everything, and scientists, enlightened scientists will confirm this, actually has consciousness. Everything, including a piece of wood or a piece of aluminium even, has DMT in it, dimethyltryptamine, which is the consciousness hormone. Everything throughout the universe. This is the big latest discovery. It's what these ancient peoples knew this already thousands of years ago. And so you learn to address the Tao in everyone and everything. You're standing in a security thing at the airport and you're getting late for the flight and they're taking ages because somebody's messing about with their shit. They haven't put the things in, and it's like, you could be really frustrated and be lost in the drama of that. Or suddenly it's like, that's the Tao. This is the Tao. She's the Tao. He's the Tao. These security people, all this whole thing is the Tao. Hello, Tao. And suddenly in that moment, the whole thing transforms, and that she's done her thing and you're going through and you get on the plane, everything's fine. That happens to me often, that sudden switch into it's all Tao. Now, if you want to do magic and you want to make things come to you, you want to influence the flow of events in your direction, what you're doing is you're getting the Tao to agree to move in your direction, because it's your friend, because you've been talking to it, because you're saying, I love you. And even the pain that I feel, even in the horrors that I witness, I love you in all of it, because I know that that's just the disguise, and I know you in everything, and I love you, and you love me. So I tell you what, Dad, let's do this now. And it's much more likely to do it than if you're like not really with it at all. So I'd like to do that as a visualization, that if you would be up for closing your eyes, you don't have to, though, you can keep your eyes open. And with your body, don't really do anything with it. Don't try and sit up straight or anything, but just notice how you're sitting. and it'll be somewhat crooked. Think of a line going through your spine and lifting the crown of your head, like somebody lifting the crown of your head through this kind of thread that they're pulling on, and that rights you. Get a feeling of balancing left to right, like wobbling a bit, so you feel that you're evenly weighted on both buttocks. Now rock back and forth from the hips very slightly, just a little bit, in an enjoyable way, and start to notice that it feels more natural and practical to be slightly leaning back more than slightly leaning forwards, just because you are a water vessel. Essentially, you know, we're mostly water, and the strength of the vessel is the spine, which is in your back. So it makes sense you'd want to keep the water more back, because if you have it front, you're going to be front heavy, and that's not good. You're not balanced. So you kind of let the water sit in the back there, and that means the waters of your mind as well. So allow the waters of your consciousness to drift into the back of the skull and collect there, and so that you can feel yourself now sitting more in the back than in the front. Become aware on a practical mechanical level of your breathing, and notice that it's bound to be slightly repressed. You're bound to be kind of holding it a little bit. So just take the hold off, take the brakes off the breathing, and let the breath flow naturally like a baby. No holding of the breath. And as it's doing that, let it slow down a little bit, just a little bit, and become a little bit more even in and out, and allow the quality of the breath to become a bit more like silk being reeled from a cocoon. It's like passing in and out of the body, very soft and smooth and delicate but strong, and with a deluxe feeling to it. And that gives the same quality to the mind. Then you notice as soon as you let the breath be like silk, suddenly the tone of mind becomes like silk as well. And if you've got a silken tone of mind, you're more likely to think in a clear, helpful way than you are if it's a jagged tone of mind. So here you are with a silken tone of mind, sitting in your back, allowing all the weight of your body to drop into the buttocks and out through the buttocks into your seat, because gravity needs to be honored. There's no point pulling up away from gravity. It's silly. You've got this crown of your head is being lifted, so you're not going to fall over or slump. So you can afford to let the weight of the shoulders and all the burden that you carry, the story of everything, and all the pain in the heart of all the disappointment and fear of everything, you can allow to let all that weight drop. It wants to drop. Just let it be absorbed by the earth. The earth's very good at that. It's like burning magma will purify it in a jiffy. And at the same time, because you're back, you can now afford to magnanimously open your heart up in the front, which means visualize the two halves of your breastbone sliding away from each other like a pair of sliding doors opening up to reveal what you could symbolize in your mind as a cluster of beautiful rubies and amethyst and rose quartz and all those sorts of colored gems, surrounded by a bouquet of most beautiful pink and red flowers of your choice, emitting gorgeous fragrance and an amazing light, a rose gold light. I'm not suggesting that's what's really happening. I'm just saying it's a symbol of the love, the beauty of your soul that you're now allowing to radiate freely from your heart all around you, to be of the benefits of the most benefits to everyone on the planet. And that means every creature as well as every person, and everything that has consciousness feels this love. And the reason that it does is because what's informing everything is the Tao, is the same eternal consciousness that you inherited when you took form as an embryo in the womb, as a fetus. That same miracle of consciousness and energy, life force that informs you that you are, is what everyone else is too. So when you're allowing your love, the beauty of your soul, to radiate freely and generously to everyone without exception, you're allowing it to radiate to the Tao in everyone. And it's the Tao in everyone that feels it right now. Behind all the noise and the disguise of human doings, the Tao is feeling your love right now. So you're saying to the Tao in everyone and everything, that is throughout existence, without exception or limitation, I love you. I love you. Have my love. This is the beauty of my soul. This is the gift that I come here to offer you now, Tao. And the Tao is naturally going to say, thank you very much indeed. I truly appreciate your conscious awareness of me. Very few people do that. It's lovely to see you here. It gets a bit lonely sometimes without people to talk to. So really nice to have you. What can I do for you, young man or woman? And at that point, it's a very beautiful moment because the Tao is asking for your direction. So wow, that's quite important, isn't it? Quite a responsibility. See, if you can't think of anything specific, or it feels a bit petty or embarrassing to say to the Tao, well, like I'd really like kind of an increase of money coming into my coffers, it would really help right now. And do you think if you could like help my mum a bit with this and that or the other, or my friend so-and-so is suffering from this, would be really nice. Also, yeah, it'd be really nice. Make me strong, make me healthy. I want to really enjoy everything that's going on. I want to be able to overcome any kind of self-limitation that's been stopping me expressing myself fully, and be able to express myself in every way fully and enjoyably for the benefit of everyone. And I want to have such fun with everyone. No more putting barriers up and blocking things, but at the same time, be fully protected from people who might not be operating or resonating on the same sort of frequency that therefore could cause damage. So I'm protected from that. And in doing this, I fulfill myself fully on the ride and give the best value to everybody as I do so, Dow. That's what I think I'd like. So if you could sort that out in whatever way, and I think do it by a series of really ridiculous, beautiful surprises, because I really love them, if that's okay. And yeah, and then just give me loads of signs that you're really enjoying it too, by making everyone around me pop off with joy and stuff around me. Like give it, like, so we're celebrating. I want to feel like we're at a party, Dow. That's what I want. So yeah, if you're into that, let's do it. I'll agree to it, certainly. And here we go, bang, and you let go now. And to give yourself the protection required, picture yourself, which in fact, this is what you are, in the midst of an ovoid-shaped sphere. That is an egg-shaped sphere. So it's not an exact sphere, it's more of an oblong sphere. And it stretches, just for the sake of description, because it's not in the physical dimension, so it doesn't really have measurements as such, but it would stretch approximately 6 meters, say, on average, from your spine outwards in every direction around you, above, behind, below, to the sides. And this is your sphere of energy, of activity, of experience, and of influence. Everyone has one. If you were addressing an audience of 10,000 people, your sphere would grow to match that. If you're meditating on behalf of all humanity, your sphere will grow to embrace 8 billion people rather. The thing is to see the sphere start turning slowly in a counterclockwise circle around you. And as you focus on it, you realize it's accelerating exponentially until it's going so fast, you can hardly see it spinning because it is now moving at the speed of light. 186,000 miles a second. Now, what you've done now is you've activated your protective sphere. Now, what this is doing is, I say this to myself. I would suggest you do too, just as an experiment. Dispel, 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 expel, 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 repel, repel, repel. Anyone or anything that could or would hinder, harm, obstruct, waylay, or delay me in any way whatsoever right now. And then you just see it, spin it all off. So you're basically going, dispel, that's in other words, dispel any negativity from within. Expel, make it go out of me. Repel, so prevent any coming in. Anything or anyone that could or would hinder, harm, obstruct, waylay, or delay me in any way at all right now. And then carry on doing that. And then you allow the sphere to keep spinning on its own, which it was doing all the time anyway. You just activate it because you thought about it. Now, at the same time, there is another sphere of exactly the same proportions, co-spatial with the first sphere, similarly spinning around you, but this one is spinning in a clockwise direction. And again, as you first look at it, it's quite slow, but as you're looking at it, it's getting quicker and quicker until it's a blur, and then you can't see it spin at all because it's going at the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles a second. Contemporaneously with the first sphere that's going counterclockwise on its own now, the clockwise sphere is now drawing to you, by free will, of course, and only for the highest good of everybody involved, everyone and everything, as in every event, every resource, every opportunity, every situation, every coalescence of details and factors required, but all the help and all the companionship of all sorts that you need to succeed in your mission of actualizing yourself to the fullest, and thereby giving the greatest gift to everyone, and thereby receiving the greatest gift, so that when you leave here happy. I've done the best I could do. That was a ride worth having. And so this one is now spinning around you in a clockwise direction while the other one's spinning in a counterclockwise one, protecting you, while this one is drawing to you all the things and people you need to make the ride as beautiful as it can possibly be. And then when you've done all that, you just say, rather than need to kind of be superstitious and think, oh, I better say something powerful to make that happen. It's more about being acquiescent and gracious. So you just go, yeah, I agree to that. I agree to that. And anyway, it's really nice like it is right now. I'm alive. That's the main thing. Everything else is just, change of scenery, really. And then you think about how you want the day to go, because the Dow's still listening. Obviously, it doesn't go away ever. I'm going to have fun today, do it lighthearted, achieve a lot without trying, make people happy wherever I go, love every interaction, and feel that I'm really at one with the entire cosmos, and I've got nothing to worry about, and everything feels beautiful by the time I put my head on the pillow tonight. Thank you very much. And then you wriggle your fingers, wriggle your toes, wriggle your ears, and wriggle your nose, plus your eyelids, and here we are back in the room.
Wow, that was spectacular.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity and giving the space for it. You were lovely. Thank you.
Brilliant. The noise in my head just left, and there's beautiful space and peace. And I felt connected not only to the rest of the people on this call, of which there's been a good 20 or so, steadily with us throughout this hour session. So thank you to everyone. And I just feel so expansive, so light, so free, so inspired. I want to thank you, Stephen, once again for doing this with us. And a final reminder, just Google Barefoot Doctor website, go onto Stephen's website, get on his newsletter. I know there's so much, you get so many emails, but I can't tell you that Stephen's newsletters are worth having. They're full of wisdom, full of practical steps and tips to enhance your life and, to get through challenges. I read them all. I wouldn't miss them for the world. And as I say, you'll get some goodies relating to AMPED. You'll get a free track, the complimentary track from AMPED Volume 1. You'll have a chance to win AMPED Volume 2 when it's released at the latter end of next month. And like you say, well and truly recommended that you do that. Thank you to everyone. Thank you, Stephen. I look forward to the next one. Have a beautiful day, everyone. And sorry about the broadcast breaking down a couple of times, but at least we managed to get it back. So
we did. We prevailed. Bless you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.